Stop. 3 seconds. That's all it took. 3 seconds of silence that made Machiavelli the most feared man in Florence. Not a speech, not a threat, not a display of force. Silence. Right now, someone is testing you. They're pushing boundaries, asking invasive questions, making demands. And you're explaining yourself, justifying, defending. Every word you say, you lose. In the next 28 minutes, you'll learn the exact 3-second power move Machiavelli used to control entire rooms without speaking. The strategic pause that separates prey from predator. This isn't about being rude. This is about taking back what's yours. You felt it. That moment when someone asks you a question that's none of their business. Where you're going, who you're seeing, what you're doing with your money. And instead of protecting yourself, you answer, you explain, you justify. Here's what's really happening. Every time you respond to an invasive question, you're teaching them they have access to you. You're training them that your boundaries don't exist. Your coworker asks about your salary. You deflect awkwardly. They ask again. You give a range. Now they know you'll crack under pressure. Your friend questions your decisions. You defend yourself for 20 minutes. They walk away thinking you're insecure, because confident people don't explain. You're not weak. You're being exploited. The game is rigged. Society taught you that silence is rude, that not answering is aggressive, that you owe people explanations. They lied, and while you're busy justifying yourself, others are using your words as weapons. Every explanation is ammunition. Every defense reveals a weakness. Every justification shows them exactly where to strike next. This ends today. Florence, 1513. Machiavelli stood in a room full of nobles, each one trying to dominate the conversation. Louder voices, bolder claims, more elaborate arguments. And Machiavelli? He said nothing. Not because he had nothing to say, because he understood something that changed power forever. The person who speaks first loses. He watched them, studying them, let them expose themselves while he remains a mystery. And when he finally spoke, 3 seconds of calculated silence before each response, the entire room leaned in. That pause became his signature, the 3-second gap that made princes nervous and enemies paranoid. He wrote about it later in The Prince. Not directly, because the most powerful techniques are never spelled out, but it's there, hidden in his observations about control, about dominance, about making others come to you. Fast forward to today. You're still in that room. Different clothes, same game. The tactics that worked in Renaissance Italy work in your office, your relationships, your negotiations, because human nature hasn't changed, only the masks we wear. Number 1, the weapon of calculated silence. When someone asks you an invasive question, your instinct is to fill the space, to smooth over the awkwardness, to make them comfortable. Stop. Imagine this: your manager asks about your weekend plans in a way that feels intrusive. Most people immediately answer, overshare, give details nobody asked for. You? 3 seconds of eye contact. Nothing else. Just 3 seconds. Then you change the subject or walk away. Here's what's happening underneath. Silence creates psychological pressure. The human brain interprets gaps in conversation as threat or dominance. When you don't fill the space, their brain fills it with anxiety. They start wondering. Did I offend them? Are they hiding something? Do they not respect me? That anxiety. That's power transferring from them to you. Machiavelli once said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." He surrounded himself with silence, let others reveal themselves, never gave away his position until he understood theirs. Here's how you use this. Someone asks you something invasive. Count to 3 before responding. Not nervously, deliberately. Let your eyes stay steady. Let the discomfort sit. Most will backtrack, apologize, fill the silence themselves, and when they do, they reveal their true intention. If they don't backtrack, if they push harder, now you know. This person doesn't respect boundaries. This is someone to watch. But here's what most people miss. Number 2, the power of strategic absence. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. Picture this scenario. There's a group conversation. Everyone's talking over each other, competing for attention, trying to be the loudest voice. You stay quiet, not withdrawn, present, but silent. After 10 minutes, you make one observation, 5 words. Everyone stops. Because you've been silent, those 5 words hit like a hammer. This is a strategic presence. Machiavelli understood it. The man who speaks constantly becomes background noise. The man who speaks rarely becomes an event. Your silence makes your words valuable. When you're always available, always explaining, always engaging, you become common, predictable, ignoble. Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. Machiavelli wrote, "And strategic silence is deception." You're letting them think you have nothing to say, when really, you're gathering intelligence. While they talk, you learn their insecurities, their ambitions, their weaknesses, their allies. Every word they speak while you stay silent is data. Apply this immediately. In your next meeting, resist the urge to fill every silence. Let others talk. Watch who tries to dominate, who defers, who watches you watching them. At your next social gathering, practice being the last to speak. See how the conversation changes when you finally do. The less you reveal, the more powerful you become. Number 3, the 3-second shield. Someone insults you, challenges you, disrespects you. Your instinct? Immediate response. Defend your honor. Prove them wrong. That instinct will destroy you. Here's the truth. Instant reactions are always weak reactions. They're emotional, defensive, predictable. The 3-second pause is your shield. It does 3 things simultaneously. First, it breaks their momentum. They expected a reaction. You gave them nothing. That nothing is disorienting. Second, it shows you're not controlled by them. Reactive people are controlled people. You just proved you're not reactive. Third, it gives you time to choose your response, instead of letting your ego choose for you. Imagine this. Family dinner. Your uncle looks at you in front of everyone and says, "Still wasting your time at that job. When are you going to do something that actually matters?" Everyone's watching, waiting for you to crack. 3 seconds. Eye contact. Neutral expression. Then, you smile slightly. Interesting perspective. And you continue eating. No defense, no explanation, no emotion. Machiavelli observed, men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves from lighter injuries. That 3-second pause lets you decide which one they deserve. And your silence is often the greater punishment. Think about the people you respect most. They don't react instantly. They pause. They consider. They respond with precision. Now think about people you don't respect. They're instant, emotional, predictable. The 3-second pause separates these two categories. Practice this. Next time someone tries to provoke you, count. 1, 2, 3. Feel the shift in power as you refuse to be their puppet. This reveals something even more powerful. Number 4, the art of the pregnant pause. Your boss asks if you can take on more work. Your friend asks for a favor. Your partner wants something from you. You want to help, so you say yes, immediately, enthusiastically. You just lost. This is different. This is offensive. When someone makes a request, 3 seconds of consideration does 3 things. It makes you appear thoughtful, like you have other priorities and commitments, like your time actually matters. It makes them justify their request. That silence creates pressure. They start explaining, adding details, sweetening the deal. And it gives you time to actually decide, instead of people-pleasing your way into resentment. Here's what happens in real time. Your boss asks, "Can you handle the Johnson project?" Instead of, "Sure, absolutely, I'd love to." 3 seconds. Then, "Let me check my capacity." Or, "What's the timeline?" That pause completely changes the dynamic. You're no longer eager. You're evaluating. Machiavelli said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." He understood that immediate agreement is a weakness. Strategic consideration is strength. Watch how leaders negotiate. They never say yes immediately. Even when they want to, they pause, they consider, they make the other party work for it. You can do this in every interaction. Someone invites you somewhere. 3 seconds before you commit. Someone asks for your opinion. 3 seconds before you give it. That pause communicates, "My thoughts are valuable. My time is valuable." You need to earn access to both. The people who pause get better deals, better respect, better treatment. The people who respond instantly get taken advantage of. Which one are you? If you're ready to master strategic silence, drop this in the comments. I control my reactions. Number 5, silence as a lie detector. Someone's lying to you. You can feel it, but you can't prove it. 3 seconds of silence will. When you ask someone a question and they're telling the truth, there's a natural rhythm to their response. It flows. It's consistent. It doesn't need decoration. When they're lying, they need to construct. They need to add details. They need to convince. And lies hate silence. Picture this. You suspect your colleague is taking credit for your work. You ask them directly, "Did you tell management this was your idea?" They start explaining. But here's the test. After they finish, 3 seconds of nothing. Just look at them. Watch what happens. Truth tellers stay calm, because the truth is the truth. Silence doesn't threaten it. Liars, they fill that silence. They add more details. They over-explain. They ask if you believe them. That's your answer. Machiavelli understood this. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. He used silence to see past appearances, to experience reality. The 3-second stare forces people to reveal what's underneath their mask. Here's the psychology. When someone's lying, they're already under cognitive load, maintaining the lie, watching your reaction. managing their body language. Your silence increases that load. Their brains can't handle it, so they make mistakes, add contradictory details, show micro-expressions of stress. You can use this everywhere. In negotiations, when someone gives you a price, 3 seconds of silence. Watch them lower it. In relationships, when someone's story doesn't add up, 3 seconds after they finish, watch them revise it. In hiring, when a candidate gives a rehearsed answer, 3 seconds of eye contact. Watch them show you the real answer. Silence is a truth serum. Most people are just too uncomfortable to use it. But watch what happens. Number 6, the power of mysterious absence. You're too available, too accessible, too present. And it's killing your power. Machiavelli didn't just use silence in conversation. He used it in availability. Days would pass where no one could find him, where his intentions were unknown, where his next move was a mystery. That mystery made him dangerous. Think about the people with the most social power. They're not the ones who respond instantly, who shows up to everything, who are always eager to engage. They're the ones you have to wait for. When you're always available, you signal desperation. When they have to wait, you signal value. Someone texts you. You have your phone in your hand. Your instinct is to respond. 3 hours later, you respond. Not because you're playing games, because you actually have priorities. Someone invites you. You want to go. But you wait. You consider. You don't commit immediately. This isn't manipulation. This is self-respect. Machiavelli observed, men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. Immediate availability makes you a victim because it shows you obey the immediate need for approval. Here's the practical application. Create windows of unavailability, times when you're genuinely focused on your priorities, when you're not checking messages, when you're not accessible. Let people wonder where you are sometimes, what you're doing, who you're with. I'm wondering. That's them thinking about you. And attention is power. The most forgettable people are always available. The most memorable people have to be waited for. This reveals the final principle. Comment. I protect my energy, if you understand the power of strategic absence. Number 7, the deliberate non-answer. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Not silence, not a pause, a redirect. Someone asks you something designed to trap you, to make you look bad either way, to force you into their frame. Most people try to answer, try to explain, try to defend. That's playing their game. Picture this. You're in a meeting. Your boss asks, in front of everyone, why is this project behind schedule? That question assumes you're the problem. Any direct answer puts you on trial. 3 seconds. Then, which matters more right now, hitting the deadline or delivering quality? You didn't defend yourself. You reframed everything. Here's what's happening underneath. Trap questions create frames. Why didn't you assume's guilt? When will you assume's failure? How could you assume's incompetence? Any direct answer accepts their frame. You're already defending, already losing. Your redirect shatters the frame. You refuse their premise. You create a new conversation, one where you set the terms. That shift, that's power. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. When nobles tried to corner him with political traps, He would respond with questions that made them defend their positions. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present, he wrote. Translation: never accept someone else's rules, change them. Here's how this works in real time. Someone asks you a trap question. 3 seconds, then redirect with a question. What outcome are you actually hoping for? Or redirect with an observation. Interesting you'd frame it that way. Then change topics. Or redirect with context. Before we go there, let's talk about. The key is the 3-second pause. It proves you chose not to answer. You weren't flustered. You weren't avoiding. You simply decided their question didn't deserve your compliance. Practice this. When someone tries to trap you with loaded questions, pause, redirect. Watch them realize they control nothing here. The person who controls the frame controls the interaction. Number 8, silence as final dominance. You're in an argument, a negotiation, a power struggle. The other person is escalating, getting louder, more aggressive, more demanding. Every instinct tells you to match their energy, to fight back, to prove yourself. Don't. This is the ultimate 3-second power move. Strategic withdrawal through silence. When someone escalates, and you go quiet, completely calm, totally still, for 3 full seconds, you've won. Because their escalation requires your participation. They need you to fight back. That validates their aggression. That continues the game. Your silence ends the game. Machiavelli watched powerful men destroy themselves through overreaction, through escalation, through the need to have the last word. And he watched patient men win by doing nothing. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake, he advised. And escalation is always a mistake. It reveals desperation. It shows loss of control. It demonstrates weakness. Your 3 seconds of calm silence in the face of their escalation does something profound. It makes them look unstable. It makes you look powerful. It ends the conflict without you having to fight. Here's the real-world application. Your partner is yelling. 3 seconds of calm eye contact. Then, I'll discuss this when you're ready to have a conversation. And you walk away. Your boss is making unreasonable demands. 3 seconds. Then, I need to check my capacity and get back to you. Someone's trying to provoke you in public. 3 seconds. Then a slight smile, and you continue what you were doing. The person who stays calm controls the situation. They might call it cold, unfeeling, manipulative. Call it what Machiavelli called it, necessary. Minutes ago, you were reacting, explaining, defending yourself to people who weaponize your words. Now, you have something they fear. The 3-second pause, the gap that separates the control from the controller. You learned the weapon, calculated silence that creates psychological pressure, that forces others to fill the void with their anxiety. You learned the shield, 3 seconds before you respond to attacks, before you let your ego destroy your power. You learned the test, 3 seconds that cracks liars, that makes manipulators expose themselves. You learned the strategic absence, how scarcity creates value, how mystery generates respect. And you learned the ultimate dominance, 3 seconds of calm when they escalate, when they lose control, when they expect you to break. This isn't about being cold. This is about being strategic. Your reactions belong to you, not to whoever pushes your buttons, not to whoever demands explanations, not to whoever tries to control you with pressure. Machiavelli spent years watching power, studying who rises and who falls. He noticed something. The people who talk the most lose the most. The people who explain constantly get exploited constantly. The people who react instantly get controlled permanently. So he wrote this: "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool eventually learns to pause, to think, to respond strategically, but only after they've destroyed relationships, opportunities, respect. The wise man pauses first, 3 seconds, before the damage, before the regret, before handing power to someone who doesn't deserve it. That's what you are now. The wise one who pauses. Here's what happens next. You can go back to instant reactions, immediate compliance, constant explanations. You can keep being the person everyone knows they can pressure, rush, manipulate, or you can become unforgettable. The person who doesn't crack under questioning, who doesn't break under provocation, who doesn't surrender under pressure. 3 seconds. That's the price. 3 seconds before you speak, before you commit, before you react. Machiavelli became legendary with those 3 seconds. What's stopping you? The uncomfortable will call it rude. The manipulators will call it cold. The controllers will call it difficult. Let them. While they're complaining, you'll be winning. If this changed how you see power, hit that like button. Drop your biggest insight in the comments. Share this with someone who needs to master strategic silence. Drop your final commitment. I choose strategic silence. Because this isn't just information, it's transformation. The 3-second pause isn't manipulation. It's self-respect. It's you remembering that rushed decisions benefit them, not you. Those immediate answers serve their agenda, not yours. That constant availability means you're always accessible and never valuable. Machiavelli didn't become unforgettable by being the fastest, the loudest, the most eager to please. He became unforgettable by being the one who chose every response, every commitment, every reaction. A choice, not a reflex. 3 seconds. That's all it takes.